Part 4, the classical era, 1750 to around 1825. This is a really interesting era. This age in history is sometimes also referred to as the Age of Reason. This is where everything from government to the arts, architecture in particular, to literature, to music, to visual art, everything is based on ancient classicism or the classical Greek and Roman archetypes that we see in history. So think about what's going on in the world. First of all, our country, America, is founded during this time period, right? This is the time of the founding fathers, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and the like. Think about how our government is based. We aren't even a democracy. Everybody thinks we are. We're not. We're a republic. That was the same thing Rome was, the same thing Greece was back in the day. Look at our structures, our monuments in Washington, D.C. Outside of the Washington Monument, that big obelisk, which is Egyptian in nature, everything else is Roman or Greek in terms of architecture. Big rotundas, round cylinders, right? Look at the Capitol building. Or they've got columns, right? Which comes from ancient Greece. Everything is based on this ancient Greek or Roman classicism and the idea that everything is balanced, everything is equal, right? And really that's what this era is about. It's about symmetry, and this extends to music, right? For example, if you come up with a melody that is 4 measures long, then the second half of that melody also needs to be 4 measures long so that they equal 8. Everything is based on a 1 to 2 or a 2 to 4 or a 4 to 8 kind of ratio, right? The other thing is that music begins to become much more organized. We start stretching the forms that are built in the Baroque era, in particular the concerto, and we start coming up with larger ways to express ourselves as composers. For example, the sonata or even the classical symphony, right? Large multi-movement works, right? And so we have to start talking about the multi-movement cycle and how one piece of music can have 3 or 4 chapters that are separate, but that are still somehow all linked together. The composers that we explore primarily in this era comprise what we call the First Viennese School, meaning they're a group of artists, composers in this case, that all live about the same time in the same geographical region, which just happens to be Vienna in Austria. Vienna, Austria in the 17 and early 1800s was the center of music for Europe. And so we experienced the likes of Franz Joseph Haydn, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who, by goodness, you better have heard of, and then the great rebel Ludwig van Beethoven.